Greetings, traders. So the market facilitation index, I was able to find it here. This was one that I created, and basically what it does is it looks at how easy it is for price to move in a range and how much volume is going with that movement. And I later found that TD created the instrument as well, right here, and their definition is a study which is intended to predict trend continuation and reversals based on both volume and price. It is calculated as a percent ratio of the current range, high to low, to volume. So you see my instrument at the bottom. Let me bring theirs up and see if we can see a big difference here. And I mean, it's similar. Mine is a histogram, and theirs is just going to just show spikes, and you'll see moves in the price data. I might be able to make this a histogram as well. Yeah, I can, but on mine, I used colors to denote certain things, and so I actually prefer mine a little better. The numbers are roughly equal, it appears. Let's see here on this day. So this was part of the study set that Bill Williams was using in trading chaos, and he had this along with a moving average convergence divergence, which most are pretty familiar with. Another name, so we just call it the acronym MACD, but his is a little different because he uses a 5 for the fast, 34 for the slow, and 5 for the signal, or for the MACD. Okay, and that's the other part of his indicator. We get rid of their instrument, and finally, he of course he's using the MACD and the market facilitation index to attempt to measure the waves he's seeing in the series, and he was of the same belief of Elliott wave with a 5-wave impulse, and so he would say that you would know wave 4, and the important thing, there are some intricacies you have to note about the number of bars that are on the screen in calculation of the MACD, around 80 to 200, somewhere in that range, but 140 being the ideal number. And then when you do have that, wave 4 will show you a zero line cross, and that's how you can denote a wave 4. And then if you look at the larger wave series of the entire move on a larger scale, rather I should say, then you know that if the wave 4 you just saw was part of a larger fractal wave, it was like a sub-minuet or a minuet out of a cycle, or not a grand supercycle of course, but something along those lines. You're just looking at different fractals of the wave series. So those were the main parts of his indicator, and the last one, and the most important, getting back to the point at hand, was one that a great young guy down there at Thinkorswim actually made this for me, just on a recommendation and a few lines of the book Trading Chaos, and I showed it to him over the support tab that we have here at Thinkorswim, and he was able to create this indicator, and I called it the Alligator, right there. And I've had this indicator for a long time, and I've used it for a long time, and I noticed a little while ago that I was looking at Williams, and I said, hey, there's Williams Alligator, and I brought it up, and what do you know, it's the same one that Mr. Victor Jones created for me. And I ended up speaking with Mr. Jones the other day, and he said, believe it or not, that we took that first incarnation that you and I made and made some small revisions to it. Nothing drastic. It's still the framework is identical, and you have what is right here in front of you for you guys. So it's a really cool indicator, and basically it's a displaced moving average. The 13 period is displaced 13 periods. The 8 period is displaced 8, and the 5 is displaced 5. The 13 period being the jaw line, the blue line here, and the lips are the green, and the teeth are the green, and the lips are the red, right? So what you'll see happen is when the alligator is hungry, he's going to start eating. And when he's done eating, he'll go to sleep. And the reason this is important is I will show you right now. Let me zoom out here. And forgive me, you know what? There's one more piece of this study set that I forgot to include, and I do have it right here. This is not in the study set for the community yet, and if you would like to add some of these, you can reach me at my website. I'd be glad to offer them out, and I'm working with TD to try and get these out for the community as well. It's dwbstreet.com. D as in Delta, Whiskey, Bravo, Street, like street sign.com, dwbstreet.com. And if you contact me, I will be glad to share these indicators. So the last one is the fractals. And what fractals do, I will show you right now. Let's make them bifractal will be red, a subfractal will be green. Okay. And what these are going to do now, now we have exactly what Bill Williams had in his study set. And if we go back a little bit farther, I'll give you a little bit better idea of how this works. We want to see that this is a long enough time frame. So you can see here, right, where our alligator data collection begins, and right where our displaced moving average here works, our displaced price work comes in. Our alligator is also, I should have mentioned, displaced of not closing prices, but a smooth average of median price. So the high and low divided by 2. Alright, and you see how perfect it is when price comes into the teeth right here, and that's where you get your bounce. And then your next time it comes right into the lips. And the strongest line, of course, is the jaw. And when you get a jaw break, it didn't fall the first time, it held, but it didn't fall the second time, but the third time, that's when you get your big breaks. So the theory behind the alligator is when you go to a spot right here, when all 3 lines have converged, the alligator has been sleeping for this time. And when the alligator wakes up, he's hungry, and so he starts to open his mouth, and he starts to eat all these prices. And the theory is you want to buy, and I'll go over the sell recommendations as well, but if you want to buy when you have a fractal that's above the alligator's jaw. You have your fractal right here above the jaw line. So you would go ahead and enter this bar right here, and exit rules I'll go over later. But the what a fractal is when you have a bar, it counts 5 bars, and it's always looking at 5 bars at any given point in time, and fractals can't overlap. But you're going to look for a bar where the low here is offset on the right by the next two bars are going to be higher, and to the left, those two bars are going to be higher. Okay, so as long as the fifth bar out of the 5 series is the lowest, that's going to be a fractal buy, and the opposite is true of a fractal sell. As long as the high is the highest of this 5-bar sequence, then it's a sell. Okay, so you don't want to be going short when you're above the alligator's jawline. And the same is true, you don't want to be going long when below the alligator's jawline. So as you can see, if you went long right here and you're underneath the alligator's jaw, you just got destroyed. It's not a good idea. So that's the premise here behind the alligator indicator, and I'll spend another video another time on this because it is a wonderful trading indicator or group of indicators. But the reason I brought up the future line of demarcation and our projection going into the future was all really based off of this kind of long story going back to Williams Alligator that was once just an obscure thought by Bill Williams, and through the bright mind of Victor Jones is now an indicator for everybody on Thinkorswim to use, and free of charge, I might add. I'm sure it would have cost money on different platforms. So price came into the future line of demarcation on a daily basis. I wasn't looking at weekly, and I noted that right back here. And let me get back out my marker, and I'll do one last overview of what I thought we were seeing there. Bear with me here. So we came in right here on this this red bar, and needed to zoom in here just so we could see a little better. And there's a little tip. I'm not sure if everybody's aware of this. To avoid having to go down here all the time and physically press the zoom in and out, you can hold down the control key, which also lets you pick your sub tabs rather quickly. Those are hotkeys, and you can adjust these in your settings. You just hold down control and use the scroll wheel on your mouse, and you can zoom in and zoom out rather quickly.